Hello, Paula. Welcome. You're our first visitor. I always forget to turn the light on. Okay, and Stephanie is here from Virginia. Hi, Stephanie. Okay, good. Yeah, I set up about an hour and a half ahead of time just to get my stuff laid out. And then I always forget to turn on the light. Okay, and let's see. Oh, Paula's in Indiana and Stephanie's in Virginia. Hello, yes. Okay, so as everyone comes on board, I want to say a big warm welcome. Tell us where you're from. And we've got a few people online already. Oh my gosh, Cheryl is here. Hi, Cheryl. Cheryl is in Paducah, Kentucky. So Cheryl has a wonderful store in Kentucky. So if you go down to the quilt show, be sure to check her out. Um, and Cheryl has muffin.com, if I remember correctly. So welcome, everybody. Ginger is here from Amarillo. Connie, oh gosh darn, Connie, hi, from Arizona. Now, Connie, you moved. Are you in Washington or Idaho, or are you just visiting Arizona? Can't keep track of you. Patty's here from Fort Wayne. Denise is from Pittsburgh. Oh, Joycelyn, yes, from Central California. And Joycelyn was our winner last month of our wonderful giveaway. Joycelyn from California. And Joycelyn answered the question, what kind of gifts are you giving to your sewing and quilting friends? And she answered, her reply was that she was making quilting little fobs for her friends, key fobs for her quilting friends. So she also sent a really nice thank you note for all the wonderful products that our vendors had supplied. So yeah, last month our question, what kind of gift giving ideas did you have for your sewing or quilting friends? And there, oh my goodness, there were so many great ideas. Of course, SCHMETZ needles, you can never go wrong with that. Rotary blades. Some people were making bowl warmers. Some were doing embroidered towels and mug rugs. And I thought there was really later after I logged off, one of the comments was somebody was making, Laura E was making embroidered take the day off washcloths. And I thought that was really cute. So she would embroider take the day off onto washcloths. And she said girls love them. And she puts them inside a decorative zippered bag and she lines them with a smiley face and has a cute zipper pull. So everybody has really such great ideas. So thank you for contributing. So I'm just going to throw out the question for today in order to get today's giveaway. So if you want today's giveaway, and I'll show you what all the goodies are a little bit later. If you want to be in the considered for the giveaway, the random giveaway, you have to answer this question. What is the silliest, most daunting stitching mistake you have ever made? I don't know about you, but seam ripper is always my favorite friend. So I'm always nearby. So if you want to be in today's giveaway, you have to answer what's the silliest, most daunting stitching mistake you have ever made. Okay, well, let's just scoot along. We're 4 minutes past the hour and I don't want to hold you up. So where am I? Well, I'm here in the Chicago area. Yes, I'm right here in my office. Don't have to worry about traveling in snow or on ice. So that is good. But where am I going to be going this month? Well, next week, I'm actually going north. I'm traveling to Wisconsin. I am meeting up. Oh, gosh, I don't have it here. So many quilters at so many pieces quilt shop in Richfield, Wisconsin. So I'll be giving 2 classes on Tuesday. I think it's a 10 10 a.m. class, and then a 6:30 class that evening. So looking forward to that. And that's with So Many Quilters Guild in Richfield, Wisconsin. Then on Friday, I'm actually giving 2 virtual classes, one for pins and needles in Ohio. And then later that evening or afternoon, I'll be working with Pam Demore on her, I think it's her 11th annual webathon. So I'm looking forward to that, pamdemore.com. And the following week, I'm working with a group, a guild in Canada, the Ancaster Quilters Guild. So looking forward to that. Then later in the month, I will be virtual in Wisconsin at the Hudson Heritage Quilters Guild. I think that's east of Minneapolis, St. Paul. So not too familiar with that geography, but I think that's where I'll be virtually. And then later in the month, I'm with My Sewing Shop in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, followed by Be So Creative in New Mexico. So really looking forward to meeting everyone to tell you more about SCHMETZ needles. Okay, so how many of you got the SCHMETZ newsletter? The SCHMETZ newsletter. I have a printout copy of it. So lots of information. Usually my January newsletter is quite simple. It's just a picture with New Year's greetings, but I wanted to plant a tease for you this month, a tease, because many of you in the past have ordered our holiday gift 10s for the last 2 or 3 years. And actually, this year we didn't offer the holiday 10, a SCHMETZ holiday 10, but I'm going to tease you right now that for Valentine's, we're going to have a 10, a SCHMETZ 10, and let's see. It may involve chocolate. So how are you going to order the SCHMETZ collectible 10? We're offering it only to our newsletter subscribers. How do you subscribe to the newsletter? Well, you're going to go to schmetzneedles.com. And after about 20 seconds, you'll get one of those irritating pop-up messages that says, sign up for the newsletter. So sign up for that newsletter, because I have a feeling that these SCHMETZ 10s are going to just fly out of our warehouse. So I'm guessing that probably within the next 2 weeks, you'll be getting an email about these collectible 10s. So be on the lookout for that email. How many of you like this picture of the needle through the finger? Oh my gosh. Yes, that was terrible, wasn't it? That was kind of like a little wake-up call for the new year. Be careful where your fingers are when you're sewing. So this was from my friend Alicia from Oklahoma Embroidery. And I'm so sorry. I actually sent her an apology a couple days ago saying, oh, you know what? The link did not show up for Oklahoma Embroidery Supply and Design. So in the next newsletter, I'll tell you what that link is. But Oklahoma Embroidery Supply and Designs, they're in Oklahoma City. And you can go to embroideryonline.com also. But I'll be sending that link out again next month, so you can check out all the wonderful designs that they have. So yeah, kind of nasty. Be careful where your fingers are when you're sewing. Okay, let's see. We've got textile talks that are coming up. So, those are on Wednesday afternoons at 2 o'clock Eastern time. These are free lectures sponsored by Studio Art Quilt Association, International Quilt Museum, etc. So check out these free lectures. They're really mind-opening as far as what we can do with our sewing machines and all the beautiful fabrics and threads that we have. So if you're looking to explore something less traditional, try out one of these textile talks starting this afternoon. All right. And also, I want to encourage you to buy local. I want you, buy local is coming up on Saturday, January 27th. I want you to go to your local sewing machine dealer, fabric shop, quilt shop, and buy your SCHMETZ needles locally. So, of course, you want to buy your fabrics and your machines there too. So, lots going on, and let's just scoot along with today's agenda. So, what am I wearing here today? Well, you know what? Many of you who have been with me in the last month or two know that in November I went on a week-long sewing retreat in the Quad Cities of Iowa along the Mississippi River. Yes, it was wonderful. And Rita Farrow, Mary Malari, and Deanna Springer and I, yep, we went thrifting, and wow, what hauls we got. So I already had this sweatshirt in my closet. I didn't really wear it very much because it was a little bit tight through the chest area and hugged my hips just a little too much. So when we were thrifting, I found this cute little charcoal gray velour stretch top that had a little ruffle along the hem. And so I cut that. I used that to actually insert onto my side seam here. So it looks really cute. I'm really pleased with it. I've actually worn this sweatshirt more in the last 8 weeks than I have probably in the 4 years that I've worn it, that I've owned it. And then that little t-shirt that I bought also had drawstrings. So I actually just stitched the tie down onto the existing hoodie tie here and then just tied a knot at the top. So I wanted a little bit of a vertical look here on my sweatshirt. So this is perfect for Chicago weather because I don't know, the warehouse tells me it's starting to snow. I don't think it's very much, but it's probably in the 20s or low 30s here. Oh my goodness, I see Sherry is here. Sherry Lynn Dancer, and I hope this is the right Sherry from Michigan, Jackson, Michigan. Yes, Sherry and I used to work at Country Stitches in Jackson, Michigan. I was the store manager there, and Sherry worked in the quilt area of the shop. So wonderful to see you here today. All right. So today's session is mostly about Q&A. So I posted on Facebook and Instagram. If you have a question regarding SCHMETZ needle, go ahead and post it. And I was very pleased with the questions that you asked. So I've got these organized here, and so let's just get to it so I can answer some of these questions. And for some reason, twin needles were very popular. And I'm glad to hear that because I think twin needles are oftentimes overlooked. And really you can bump up your quilting or your sewing just by using a twin needle for embellishing or maybe echo quilting. So there were 4 different questions about twin and triple needles. So before I go through those questions, I want to just make sure understand twin needles. I've got a twin needle here, 2 twin needles, and a triple. So underneath here are the sizes. So on this first needle here, so a twin needle are 2 like needles on a single shank. So 2 like needles on a single shank. So when you look at your SCHMETZ needle pack, currently at the bottom of your pack, you're going to see a number that looks like this. So this one here says 1.6/70, 1.6/70. So how many of you know what those numbers mean? I want to make sure you understand those numbers. So that first number on this sample here, it's a 1.6, is the distance between the 2 needles. So 1.6 is the distance between the two needles. Now, depending on the needle type and size, you will find other needles that might say 2.0, so that's going to be wider than a 1.6. You might find a 2.5, which is wider, and it goes all the way up to a 6.0 and an 8.0, at least on the universal needle. 8.0, that's a really super wide distance between your needles for a twin needle. The second number on your little SCHMETZ needle pack, so on this sample here, it's 1.6/70. 70 is the needle size. So both of those needles are size 70. Now this sample here that I showed you is a universal needle. 1.6/70. So again, that first number is the distance between the two needles. The second number is the needle size. So I hope that helps you out. Now, there's a variety of twin needle type. So if you've got the little SCHMETZ ABC pocket guide, which you can print out from SCHMETZneedles.com over on resources, or if you've got the SCHMETZ resource app, which you can download from resources on SCHMETZneedles.com, you too will have this little diagram and the listing of twin needles. So universal needles come in the widest range of widths and sizes. So for universal, the narrowest width between the needles is a 1.6, and the widest is an 8.0. And sometimes these fringe sizes like 1.6 or the 6.0 or 8.0 needles are kind of hard to find at your local store. So sometimes when you go into your local dealer or your local quilt shop or fabric store, you have to ask, and they'll special order those for you. So the universal needle comes in the narrowest width of 1.6 with a size 70 needle and goes all the way up to an 8.0, which is very wide, with a size 100 universal needle or needles. So that's quite the range. Most of those needles are available in single size packs, one needle per pack. There is a sorted size pack where you get 3 different universal needle widths and sizes in one combo pack. So you can keep that in mind. Also, for twin needles, there is an embroidery twin. So I think somebody just mentioned embroidery. So embroidery comes in a 2.0 and a 3.0 in size 75/11. The jeans needle comes in a single twin needle, which is a 4.0 needle in a size 100. There's a metallic 2.5, size 80, and a 3.0, size 90, and a stretch twin also. Stretch 2.5 in size 75, and also 4.0 in size 75. So you've got a lot of variety on your twin needles. There is also a triple needle, a triple needle. So 3 like universal needles on a single shank. 3 like needles on a single shank. So the triple needle comes in 2 sizes, a 2.5 and a 3.0 with size 80 needles. So twin and triple needles, what do you need to keep in mind about twin and triple needles? Well, you'll probably need to lengthen your stitch length. You'll need to lengthen your stitch, and you might also need to support the stitches or support where you're going to be stitching. So especially if you're going to be working with a knit fabric, or maybe you're going to be working with a 6.0 or an 8.0 universal needle. What happens is if the fabric is not strong enough, the twin needles are just going to kind of create a funnel effect on your twin needle. So you need that extra support. You could use fusible bias tape, or maybe you've got some strips of lightweight interfacing that you can fuse down, but you're going to need something to support those stitches. So Marianne had asked, what fabrics and threads do you recommend for twin and triple needles? Well, you know what? You can use them on all kinds of fabrics with all kinds of threads. Sometimes it's like a dance where you have to match the appropriate needle type and size for your fabric and thread, but wovens and with knits. Twin needles are oftentimes used for hemming your t-shirts or your dresses. Twin needles can be used for echo quilting, for our quilting friends out there. Use it for echo quilting. So lots of uses. Joanne had asked about the twin needle, if she could use the twin needle on her embroidery machine. And I'm going to say, I don't know why you can't, as long as you're not using the single eye throat plate. So when you're using your twin needle, you need to make sure that the throat plate is wide enough for the two needles to pass through the throat plate. Otherwise, guess what? You're going to break a bunch of needles. You're going to break a bunch of needles. So don't do that. Make sure that your twin needle can pass through the throat plate easily, which also brings up that you need to make sure that whatever stitch you're using, if it's like a zigzag or maybe it's a special design stitch, that if it swings to the left or right, that it can still clear that little hole in the throat plate. So keep that in mind. So Eva says that she likes to use twin needles for accent stitching. Absolutely, accent stitching. You can use contrasting colors of thread. She likes to lengthen her stitch to a 3.5 or 4.0 length. And she also likes to do doodling. Doodle stitches with her twin needle. So keep that in mind. Cindy, so Cindy, I hope I've answered your questions too, the general twin needle information. So good questions. Thank you. Oh, and I'll also just point out that keep your eyes open, because needles don't really change that much, but I'm guessing in the next 3 to 4 months we're going to have a new twin needle option, and that will be a top stitch twin needle. It'll be available in sizes 80 and 90 with two different widths, 2.5 and a 3.0. So when those are available, we'll certainly let your local sewing machine dealer and quilt shops and fabric stores know so that you can buy them locally. But I'll also let you know in the newsletter. So keep that in mind. The top stitch twin needle should be available in the next few months, and I'll be letting you know in the newsletter. Now, what's so special about the top stitch twin? That top stitch has that elongated eye. So there's less stress on your thread as it's passing through the eye of the needle. So, yep, twin top stitch, you heard it here first. We haven't even told our dealers yet or our distributors. So you are in the know. Okay, let's move on. A couple questions about how long does a needle last. So the Vixter 6834 from Instagram was asking, should I be changing my needle for every quilt, or like monthly, or how often? And Gail was asking, well, how do you keep track of your sewing time so you know when to change the needle? And same way with D. Joe. She works with the embroidery needle, and she's asking how many sewing hours she can get from her embroidery needle. And you know what I'm going to say? I don't know. I don't know how long your needle is going to last. It could be 3 seconds if you hit a pin right away, or maybe you can get 20 hours of sewing time if you're not a very aggressive sewer and your fabric is not too abrasive. So 3 seconds, 20 hours, that's quite the span of time. So rather than ask, how long does a needle last? I'm going to ask you to reframe that question to, what are the clues to changing the needle when you're sewing? What are the clues to changing out the needle when you're sewing? So one of the clues is what's happening to your thread. Is your thread breaking and shredding? Well, hello, that's a clue that you need to change out your needle. Threads that are breaking or shredding, you need to change out your needle. What you may not know is if you're not changing your needle frequently enough, the thread will actually create a groove in the eye of the needle. And what's that going to do? Yep, a groove in the eye of the needle is going to break and shred your thread. So what are you going to do? Change out the needle. When you're sewing, what's happening to your stitches? Are they skipping? Are they uneven? So yeah, skip stitches, uneven seams. Yep, those are clues that you need to change out your needle, that your needle is dull. Or maybe you're sitting at your machine and you're saying, well, I'm sewing in a straight line. How come my stitches look kind of wiggly squiggly? Well, guess what? Your needle is dull. So what are you going to do? Change out the needle. When you're sewing, what's happening to your fabrics? Is your fabric puckering? Is the needle leaving a hole in your fabric, a big hole? Is the needle eating up your fabric? In a really bad case, what's happening is the needle is actually tucking the fabric into your throat plate. So, hello, it's past time to change out your needle. So, what are you going to do? Just change out the needle. And there's one other clue to changing out the needle while you're sewing, and that has to do with sound. Hopefully, when you're sewing, you're in that bubble and everything is wonderful in our sewing bubble, right? And your machine is humming along. And then you start to hear that little click, click, clicking sound. And what is it? It's your needle saying, hey, I've been working hard here, change me. If you ignore the clicking sound, it graduates to a pop, pop, popping sound. Now your needle is yelling at you, change me, change me. If you ignore the clicking and the popping, what's happening now? Yes, your needle is going clunk, clunk, clunk. And your first thought is, oh my gosh, something's wrong with my machine. But you know what? Even if you take your machine to the technician, what's the first thing the tech is going to ask you? Hey, when's the last time you changed your needle? So just change out your needle. It can solve a lot of problems. So I'm not here today just to sell you more needles, but I really want you to have a wonderful sewing experience. And that means changing out the needle. Needles don't last forever. Stop and think about it. You've spent a lot of money on your machine, right? It's a pretty big investment on your machine or machines. You spent a lot of money on your fabric stash or stashes, including those hidden ones. You spent a lot of money on all your beautiful threads. You spent money on books, lectures, patterns, retreats. It all adds up. And let's not forget your investment in sewing time. Your time is valuable too. So you know what? Let's complete that entire investment cycle right down to the hardest working and least expensive 2-inch piece of steel in your sewing machine, the SCHMETZ needle. So they don't last forever. You do need to change them. Okay, wow, that was a lot of information on changing the needle. Be aware of clues to changing the needle. All right, so now let's skip ahead, and there were some more specific questions. So Michelle was asking, what needle should I use for very lightweight silk gauze? And I'm going to suggest that you use either the Microtex or the universal needle. And for a lightweight gauze, probably a smaller needle size, maybe a size 70 10. Deborah is asking about top stitching on denim with the thick gold thread. What's the best needles type and size to use? Well, when you're working with denim, generally you want to use a denim needle. The denim needle has that reinforced blade, which is really great when you're going through that denser fabric and especially layers. The reinforced blade means there's less needle deflection, less movement of the needle when it's stitching. So if you're going to use a denim needle, I'm going to guess you need at least a size a 90-14, at least a 90-14. You may even need to go up to a size 100/16 or even a 110/16. So sometimes you just have to use trial and error and use what's best based on your thread and fabric combination. Denise is asking, she's stitching dense embroidery design, and she's asking what needle to use. Of course, you can certainly use embroidery needles. And for something dense, I'm guessing I would try the size 75-11. But another option for you would be to use the SCHMETZ Super Nonstick needle, especially that smaller size, 70/10. The Super Nonstick universal needle has that anti-adhesive coating. So you know what? Yes, it's going to resist the adhesives and the fusibles from your fusibles when you're doing your machine embroidery. But there's also that anti-adhesive coating is also just going to slide through your fabrics with more ease. So keep that in mind. The Super Nonstick also has that enlarged eye, so there's less stress on your thread as it's passing through the eye of the needle. A couple other options would be to try a top stitch or a Microtex needle. So if you've been with me before, you know I always like to say with SCHMETZ, you have options. So have a variety of needle types and sizes available. Barbara is asking, I would love to know if there's a way to look at a needle and tell anything about it, like the size. Okay, so let me bring out the handy little SCHMETZ ABC Pocket Guide. And in here, we have the SCHMETZ color chart, the SCHMETZ color chart. So the top color band identifies your needle type. So in this little sample here, which I hope you can see, is yellow. The top color band is yellow. So when we look under needle type, yellow is a stretch needle. The lower color band on your needle identifies the needle size. So we look over here. On this sample here, it is a rose color. So rose is size 75-11. So that identifies, the color bands identify the needle type and size, unless you have a universal needle. Once you take it out of the pack, you need to remember that it's a universal needle and it will have only one band of color to identify the needle size. So if you have a universal size 80-12 needle, well, it has just that single band of orange for size 80-12. If it's a universal size 90-14, it has that single band of blue for size 90-14. So I will admit that I will agree that if you have older SCHMETZ needles that are not color coded, yeah, they're kind of hard to identify. So in the little ABC Pocket Guide, you can find descriptions of all of the different needle types with their special features, etc., including the needle points. On the SCHMETZ ABC Pocket Guide, or in the Pocket Guide, is a 2-page spread about the different needle points with descriptions and also listing the different needle types that have a specific needle type. So let's say you have a light ballpoint. Well, that's an embroidery or a gold embroidery needle. If you have a medium ballpoint, it's a stretch or a jersey or a jeans needle with a modified medium ballpoint. So lots of information right here. All right. Let's see. And can I keep it? Barbara's also doing embroidery. Oh, so what needle should you use for embroidery? Well, Barbara, with SCHMETZ, you have options. So, of course, you can use the embroidery needles. Embroidery needles have that extra large eye, so there's less stress on your thread as it's passing through the eye of the needle. You can use a regular chrome embroidery needle, which all of our SCHMETZ needles are now, opposed to a nickel finish. Any of the silver needles now have a chrome finish for more endurance. There is the gold embroidery needle, which has a titanium coating. So this is your gold needle, which both the chrome and the gold come in two sizes, 7511 and the 9014. And both have that enlarged eye for your embroidery. Another option that you've got for machine embroidery is the super nonstick needle. Again, it has that anti-adhesive coating, so it's just going to slide through your designs and through any of those fusibles or sticky stabilizers. So there's less gumming up on your needle. The needle also has that extra large eye and a reinforced blade. So lots of great characteristics. These are actually, you can find all of these needles at your local sewing machine dealer, quilt shop, and fabric stores. They're also bundled up as the machine embroidery bundle over at SCHMETZneedles.com. So lots of options. Okay, Cheryl was asking, Cheryl has a Janome S7, and I was not familiar with the S7 model. And let me see, I thought I had it here. Oh, here we go. Janome machines use regular SCHMETZ home sewing machine needles. Every once in a while, they'll have a specific model that might use a different needle system, but overall, I would say 98% of all of the Janome machines use a regular home sewing machine needle, which is needle system 130-705H. 130-705 means that the needle has a flat shank. The H translates from a German word that means scarf. So 95% of all of the home sewing machines, whether the Janome, Bernina, Viking, Pfaff, Husqvarna Viking, Baby Lock, Juki, they use home sewing machine needles. But because you were specific, Cheryl, I just wanted to make sure on your Janome S7, and yes, it does use a regular home sewing machine needle. In fact, I went to the owner's manual and actually printed out page 16, and it suggests, I know Janome has their own needle line of needles, but SCHMETZ needles work with them, and they have a little fabric, thread, and needle chart to help you out with your needle selection. So, okay, Cheryl. Oh, is this the same? Oh, yeah. Oh, Cheryl. Oh, okay. Penny says that she uses. Oh, she's been sewing on Janome machines for 42 years, and she only uses SCHMETZ. So Penny also sews on a Singer featherweight. It looks like she might have 3 featherweights, and she uses regular SCHMETZ home sewing machine needles too. So keep that in mind. Sandy, oh, let's see. We got a nice little shout out from Fiber and Fabric Media Travel Guide. Yes, they are providing one of the items in today's giveaway. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. Let me finish up our questions. Sandy's sewing with vinyl. What needle should she use? SCHMETZ Super Nonstick Needle, Super Nonstick, sizes 70, 80, 90, and 100. So if it's just a medium weight vinyl, I'd probably use a size 80, 12. If it's a little bit heavier, I'd use the SCHMETZ Super Nonstick, either in 9014, or if it's even heavier, the larger size 100. Super Nonstick, again, it's got that anti-adhesive coating, so it's just going to slide right through your vinyl, so the vinyl doesn't hug your needle. All right. Sue. Oh, Sue buys her SCHMETZ needles in bulk. Okay, so if you're not familiar with bulk, I've got a couple little samples here for you. Bulk are little matchbox sizes of needles. They may be in one of three different colors of boxes. It could be gray, this darker blue, and all of them are transitioning now to this the SCHMETZ blue, this lighter blue. So what are bulk needles? Bulk needles are 100 loose needles in this little SCHMETZ needle pack. So I just slide the cover off. There's a little piece of paper here, and this one's been opened already. There's generally a little plastic guard right on top so your needles aren't sliding back and forth. So these are just your regular SCHMETZ needles, but there's no card, no glue. So if you're buying bulk needles, you need to know, I'm going to guess you're a power sewer, or you've identified what your favorite needle type and size is. This one here, it says 13705H, so we know that it's a home sewing needle, and it says -S for stretch needles. Let's see, right there you can see it. Okay, those you can special order those from your local sewing machine dealer. You're not going to just find them on the shelf. You're going to pretty much have to order those. You can find those at schmetzneedles.com, so keep that in mind. It's a great way if you're a power sewer, or what your favorite needle is. That's the way to go. Okay, Elizabeth is asking, Elizabeth has a Singer 191D-30 industrial machine. Well, I don't specialize in industrial machines, but I did go online just to make sure, to learn more about that Singer machine. That Singer industrial machine is a straight stitch machine only. There's no zigzag, it's straight stitch only. It's used for quilting, for sewing on vinyl, leather, canvas, duck cloth, so heavier fabrics. So the needle system is 1955-01. And the owner's, let's see, So that needle has a round shank. Unlike our home sewing machine needles, which has a flat shank, a needle system 1955-01 actually has a round shank. That needle system is also known as D as in David, P as in Paul, X5, or 135X5. So when you get into industrial needles, oftentimes a needle system is cross-referenced 3, 4, 5 or more times. So 1955-01 actually goes by DPX5 or a 135X5 also. So what you want to do is actually and those needles are not interchangeable. So 1955-01, you can only use that needle system or the cross-reference DPX5 or 135X5. So unlike our home sewing machines where you can use on different brands of machines, you can only use that specific needle system for your Singer industrial machine. So good question. Quilting Carnivore asked about the needle for a Little Rebel on the Grace sewing machines. The Little Rebel, I wasn't familiar with that, so I did go online, and that machine is a multi-directional machine. It uses an M-class bobbin, so it's a little bit larger. They suggest using needle system D as in David, P as in Paul, X, 5M as in Master, R range. MR translates to multi-range or multi-directional stitching. So the DPX5MR has a deeper and longer scarf. The scarf is this little indentation on the backside of your needle, and the needle also has a deeper groove to protect your thread. So as far as SCHMETZ goes, that would be a DPX5 Serve 7. So that would be the equivalent to an MR multi-range, multi-directional. So Quilting Carnivore, DPX5MR is your needle system, which is for SCHMETZ is a DPX5 Serve 7. Whew. Yeah, I had to do some homework this morning. Teresa, 83, was asking about hand embroidery. Well, Teresa, SCHMETZ does not make hand embroidery needles, so I'm just going to pass that on. You might, for hand embroidery, you might try Richard Hemming, Colonial Needles, etc. for more information on hand needles. ROK Timbers is asking what needle to use for foundation paper piecing. And generally, I use a Microtex needle, but I have to tell you that in December, I was at Stitch in Heaven in Quitman, Texas, and Moda Fabrics was there with their charm and their cake packs. Let's see. And they were using the black superfine needle in size 70, black superfine size 70, which is the newest needle. Oh gosh, it's so new. I don't even have a sample here. We released it and we sold out. So we're waiting for more inventory to come in. So I will be talking more about it. But the black superfine needle comes in just the one size 70. As I mentioned, Doug was using it to stitch their foundation paper piecing and their charm packs, etc. With that, it has the anti-adhesive coating, so the needle just glides beautifully through your lightweight fabric, whether it's fine or lightweight, and also through any stabilizers that you might be using. So keep that in mind. B. Salmon was asking about leather. What needle to use when sewing on leather? Well, SCHMETZ has a leather needle that's available in sizes 70-10, 80-12, 90-14, 100/16, and the largest is 110/18. So, if it's just a medium weight leather, probably an 80-12 or a 90-14. Again, sometimes you're just going to have to experiment. What's special about the leather needle is that it has a cutting blade. So once you make that stitch, you know what? You can rip out the thread, but the hole will remain. So keep that in mind. B. Salmon also asked for a recommendation on thread, and either polyester or a bonded nylon are good for sewing on leather. Anita Lynette Simmons was asking, hey, who's making those amazing Frankenstein dresses on Facebook and Instagram? Well, on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays on Facebook, Rita Farrow, who is a writer, She used to do the interviewing writing for SCHMETZ Inspired to Sew, and you can find those back issues over on SCHMETZneedles.com underneath resources. And I actually featured Rita in issue number 68, and she actually featured me in issue 86. I just noticed that's a play on numbers, 68 and 86. So Rita Farrow is an avid sewer. She wouldn't call herself a quilter or even a seamstress, but she loves to sew, and especially she loves thrifting, and she likes to take thrifted items and create unusual and wonderful outfits for herself. So she might take a size 6 top that she's found at a thrift store that might have a unique neckline, and she'll make it into an extra large or larger size that she can wear herself. So that's Rita Farrow. And let's see, there were some videos on fabric weaving, basket weaving with fabric. There was some beautiful jackets that her sister had made. So I talked to Rita last night, and she said that she will be making some videos to talk about her thrifting and her Franken sewing dresses. Right now, she's into sweatshirt tunics. So I had bought 2 sweatshirt tunics or dresses from Aldi's not too long ago, and she loved them. So she's been making her own sweatshirt dresses. So more to come on that. Leah Quilts was asking, do certain needles work better with cotton thread versus polyester? And I'm just going to say, cotton thread is strong and soft. Polyester is durable. So what do? I use polycotton thread. So, sometimes you just have to test. If you're going to be making a legacy quilt or a heritage quilt, you might consider using all cotton. But, you've got so many wonderful choices. There's so many wonderful thread companies out there with both the synthetic and the natural. So use what works best for your projects and also for your machines. Leah Quilts also asked what needle to use when quilting flannel. So if I was quilting flannel, I'd probably use a denim needle. Again, that denim needle has that reinforced blade, so there's less needle deflection when the stitch is created. Other options would be a universal needle. You could use a top stitch needle, certainly a quilting needle, probably the size 90-14 because it is the larger, or also a Microtex, at least a size 80, maybe a size 90. But for quilting on flannel, I'd probably go with the denim or a universal, probably 90-14. So, wow, I've only got 8 minutes left. We have just gone through a huge amount of questions. I want to say thank you for participating. And let me see, where is, okay. All right, so let me go through the giveaway. I've got some really wonderful things that are in today's random giveaway. Of course, I've got Shannon Fabrics. Shannon, ever so fabulous. This is a 3-yard pre-cut extra wides. So you could use this as a backing. I have Mary Mallory has contributed her reversible apron. And guess what? It's already printed on fabric. So you've got both fabrics, and you can make Mary Mallory's reversible apron. Also, fabric from Timeless Treasures. I have their Tonga Treats. Beautiful collection of their batik fabrics. I mentioned before, there's the Needle Travel Guide. You know what? It's not too late to start planning, or I should say not too early to start planning for your shop hops and summer vacations, so you can hit all the different fabric and yarn and fiber stores along the way. From Quilt Tony, I have this fun little fantasy mermaid pattern and all the great instructions for magazines. I've got Quick and Easy Quilts. I've got the McCall's Quilting. I have this wonderful issue of What Women Create, and I don't think this magazine is published anymore, so somebody lucky is going to get it, and the Threads magazine. All right. From our friends at Taylor Seville, I have Thread Magic. Thread Magic. From our friends at Metler, I've got a box. Actually, there's 5 spools of the Seraflex thread in here. This is thread that actually has stretch to it. So you're going to use it when you're sewing on swimsuits or some of your fabrics or knit fabrics, anything that has stretch. From our friends at Clover, I've got the little stitch dome. Wonderful little fun thing. And from Wonderfill, I have assorted spools of thread from Glamour to Tutti Frutti to Confetti, etc. I've got the Grab It My Pad. Everybody needs one of these for your slightly used needles. And then I've got a couple of the other Grab It bobbin savers, both the square in jumbo and regular and a round. And for our Grab It magnetic pincushion fans, I've got the mini Grab It's, the little trio. One for your sewing machine, one for your ironing board, and one for your easy chair when you're doing your handwork. And of course, I've got a whole collection of SCHMETZ needles. You know, over on our website, we have these bundled up, and this is the largest assortment of needles. So if you received a sewing machine for Christmas, this would be a great sampler pack, or maybe you're helping to teach someone how to sew. This would be a great sampler pack because you've got the 2 packs of costume needles. So between the 2 of them, you've got universal, jeans, a twin needle, stretch, microtex, etc. You've got needles for sewing with knits. You've got your felt and craft needles, which is the super nonstick jeans and universal. So we've got all kinds of needles here, and I'll just also end with this combo pack called vinyl needles. The needles are not vinyl. These are the super non-stick needles in a sorted size pack. So if you're just learning about the super non-stick needle, this vinyl pack would be a really fun pack to use because it's got all 4 sizes. So that is our prize here today. Before I give the winner, because I'm down to my last 4 minutes, I want to encourage you to sign up for the SCHMETZ newsletter, because in about a week and a half, 2 weeks, we'll have that specialty tin that's going out just to our newsletter subscribers. How do you sign up for the newsletter? Go to SCHMETZneedles.com, and after about 20 seconds, you'll get one of those pop-ups that says sign up for the newsletter. So to win today, you had to answer, what is the silliest or most daunting stitching mistake you have made? Okay, so our winner today said she had eyelashes on half the back of her quilt before she realized it. So our winner today is Susan Salo from Ann Arbor, Michigan. So Susan, to claim your prize today, you need to send me an email at info@schmetzneedles.com with your shipping address, and we'll get that out to you. So again, our winner today is Susan Salo from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Well, she made a quilt and she had lots of eyelashes on the back of her quilt before she realized it. So she didn't, yeah, that's just one of those things that happens. Sometimes we get so excited about our projects that we forget to stop and look. But we've all been there. One of my favorite stories, and this wasn't about me, but I did have home ec in high school in a sewing class. I didn't really like it, but I took it. And one of the guys in class, we were making aprons, and he sewed his shirt to the apron. Oh, the class had such a fun time about that. Jenny says she put fabric together with the wrong size. sides. Oh, wow. Let's see. Judy stitched her shirt to a bag. Oh, hi, Morna. Morna sewed her patchwork to her jeans. Is that silly enough? Absolutely. We've all been there. So I want to say thank you to each and every one of you here today. I'll be back on the first Wednesday of next month, and I don't have that date written down. I'll be here at noon Central Time. I encourage you to keep on stitching with your SCHMETZ needles and to share the joy of stitching with your friends. Go over to Facebook and see what posts, the creative posts are on weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday when Rita is posting. I do the facts Monday through Thursday. So, I want to say thanks for being here today and thanks for using SCHMETZ. So take care and I'll see you again next month. So SCHMETZ.